I have to tell you that as soon as I started reading that indictment yesterday, I started thinking about you. And I started thinking about that decision you made to establish that January 6th committee, to appoint exactly who you appointed. And I was left wondering if we would be here tonight if you hadn't made those decisions.
Well, thank you. I listened to your presentation with great emotion, with great pride in the work of the January 6th committee, the leadership of Benny Thompson, Chairman Benny Thompson of Mississippi, Vice Chair of the committee, Liz Cheney of Wyoming. They were great leaders of the committee, but every member made his or her contribution with patriotism and excellence. To your point, they weren't there to perform. They were there to be patriotic, to seek and find the truth. And, you know, it wasn't an easy path to get there. People said to me, you're taking a real risk. And I said, no, we know what we're doing. Because we had really we were striving to have the outside commission, a bipartisan outside commission. We had offered equal staffing, equal payroll, whatever, equal subpoena power and everything to the Republicans. In the Senate, they thought they had the votes, but in fact, unfortunately, Mitch McConnell went around to the senators and said, do me a personal favor, don't vote for this. And they thought they had 13 votes. It ended up being 6. One person was absent, so maybe it would have been 7. But what's interesting about it is people said to Mitch at the time, you don't think Nancy's just going to let this go away. It's about thinking about our founders and what they had in mind for this country, this democracy, not a king, not a monarch, but a democracy, a separation of power and a peaceful transfer of power. It was about our men and women in uniform who fight for freedom, for our country, for our democracy, and for other democracies as well. And that principle was at stake. And always it's about the children and the future and the country that they will live in. That it would be clear, that there would be clarity, that our democracy was based on our Constitution. We take an oath to protect and defend it. So I give credit to the committee members. They were courageous. You have no idea the heat that they received, but they were patriotic and they wanted to get the job done. So, to your point, they built a foundation of facts built on in relationship to the law, the facts and the law, and the rule of law. And they had 9 public hearings, and yes, we wanted the narrative to be clear, and so there were decisions that had to be made, and our members were part of those decisions.
Can I ask you,
simplicity?
Can I ask you, Madam Speaker, about those decisions? Because like you, I've seen more congressional hearings, House and Senate, than I can remember or count. I have never seen such discipline. I have never seen such clarity of presentation. I have never seen a more flawless delivery of compelling information to the public. The hearing was about, from where I was sitting, public comprehension. It was not ever about members needing attention or members, exercising their egos. And the whole time I was watching that, tell me if I'm wrong, but I was crediting you with the discipline that I saw imposed on that committee.
The fact is, we made a decision that we were going to have the clarity of purpose, the clarity of message, and the respect for the facts and the truth. And once you make a decision, then you have to make every decision in favor of reaching that goal, and we did.
Tomorrow, the former president of the United States is going to be arraigned in the courthouse that you were thinking about that day on January 6th. How does that feel for you?
Well, heartbreaking, because a president of the United States did not have respect for the office that he held. Heartbreaking for the fact that some people in our country still believe him. And I respect their point of view. I don't respect the members of Congress who were under threat that night. I was going to get a bullet in the head. vice president was going to get strangled, strangled or whatever, hung. And they were all under threat, and many of them scared of what might happen. And we had, I had my security, so I wasn't particularly worried about myself. I could see on TV that they were shouting my name and coming after me and all that. And that was incited by the President of the United States. But I was more concerned about the Vice President because of what the President, what clearly he had in mind. But the thing that I find unforgivable, two things. One, as you know, Lawrence, you know this from your own life. Many of the people in the Capitol are young, idealistic people who come there about our country. Maybe they'll serve one day, or maybe they'll be part of an issue. As I say, when the new members come, I said, here you are, the fresh recruits. Who among you will lead here? Who among you will run for higher office? Who among you could be President of the United States? But in that same arena are the kids, the volunteers, the interns, all of that, the young staff. And how traumatizing this was to the young staff is something I will never forgive them for. They were terrible to them. They scared them. They were out to get them. And to the custodians, the maintenance people in the Capitol who are there to serve the people who visit and serve the members of Congress, the press, and all, for them to be treated with such disrespect. It was horrible. It was a horrible thing. But the most horrible part about it was, of course, the trauma it caused for people who didn't have the security I had, and the fact that when we said we're going back to the floor to show the world that the United States of America is going to have a peaceful transfer of power in this very time frame, it would not be the day because it would be came in the middle of the night, that a majority of the Republicans in the House voted against the peaceful transfer of power and followed the lead of their puppeteer as he shines the light on the strings as he orchestrates them. It's so sad for our country. But that's okay, that's that. We don't agonize, we just go forward. And now it's in the court of law. He's innocent until proven guilty. He is not above the law. The facts in the law will determine the outcome. And God bless America. The rule of law is so important. And not only has this president, well, nobody's not going into the particulars because that's for others to do, but the fact is his disrespect for the rule of law is yet another. I mean, you can't charge him for that, I guess, but it's a disgraceful part of his performance. So here we are historically. A place in time, the first week in August, but for the first time, a president of the United States has been charged. Tomorrow he will be arraigned, and largely because of the work of the committee, the January 6th committee, established to investigate what happened leading up to January 6th. Again, pretty exciting, really an act of courage and patriotism on the part of the members of the committee. I salute them, and the staff who were superb. And thank you for calling the attention to it that you have, because the public has to understand the narrative, what happened, and that it's not okay to say it just would be too messy to go further. No, it isn't. It's very clear and clear-cut. We must go forward.
Speaker Nancy Pelosi, thank you very much for joining us tonight. The nation owes you a debt of gratitude for many things, including everything you did to make sure we know the truth about what happened on January 6th. Speaker Pelosi, thank you very much.
Thank you.